How's it, everyone? Welcome back to another Versus string review right here on OpenCourt. I'm Kent, and today I'm doing a Versus review that I'm very excited about. It's one that I've been thinking about doing for a very long time. So I am pitting my current favorite polyester string on the market against my current favorite polyester string that I've tried this year of 2025. So today we're doing a Versus comparison of the Head Lynx Tour versus the Head Hawk Tour. Let's check it out. So the Lynx Tour is currently my favorite string. If you guys are an avid viewer of my channel, you would know this. I love this string because it has a really crisp feel, which allows me to play all of my shots from everywhere on the court. That includes my defensive shots. It gives me good feel to be able to keep my defensive slices and lobs where I want them to go to prevent my opponent from attacking. But it also allows me to play my aggressive baseline shots because it lets me aim for corners, and also I can hit very good drop shots, angle volleys, and short angles. And overall, this string just plays well from all areas of the court. It's a six-sided medium firm string. It has really good dwell time. The ball sits on the strings for a split second, which allows me to feel it better. And that's what really allows me to play with confidence. And there has been very few strings on the market that I've tried since starting this channel that have replicated the feel of the Lynx Tour. The Hawk Tour, I apologize, I only have this demo string package. This string I was very surprised with because this string also plays similarly to the Lynx Tour in terms of pocketing, feel, and control. This is a 7-sided string and it's made of recycled materials. So I have a full review of both of these strings on my channel. I'll link it down in the description below. So far of 2025, we're around the halfway point. This is my favorite polyester string that I've tried this year because it is very similar to this. And as soon as I tried this and I reviewed this, I knew that I had to do a Versus review pitting these two strings against one another. Both of these strings have many other variants. Lynx has the Lynx Original and Lynx Touch. Hawk has Hawk Original, Hawk Touch, and Hawk Power. I really like the Hawk Power. I don't like Hawk Touch at all. I've never tried Hawk Original. But so far, the Tour versions of both of these strings are my favorite versions. So I got the Lynx Tour and Hawk Tour strung up in one of my favorite rackets of choice. This is the Speed Pro. So these are not the same exact year. This is the 2018 Graphene 360 version, and this is the 2024 Graphene 360, whatever it's called now, the 𝐦𝐤𝐬𝐿 2.0. So I know they're not exactly the same string, but I'm kind of getting tired of using the boom for my Versus reviews all the time. I like the speeds better, so I decided to string it in these rackets, and especially because these are probably two of my favorite strings on the market. So I got the orange Lynx Tour strung up in my 2018 Speed Pro. I've never tried the orange edition before. I've tried every other color, and color makes a difference. So I decided to get this orange to see if it actually plays a little bit more on the crisper side. And then I got the Hawk Tour in the only color they have, the natural color, strung up in my 2024 Speed Pro. I got them both strung at 52 pounds, which is what I like to string 18 by 20 rackets in. And so I'm super excited to get this out on the court. It's been a very long time since I've actually played with Lynx Tour because I test so many strings. So I'm excited to get back on the court and pit these two strings against each other. But before we do that, if you guys like this content and want to see more, be sure to overhead smash that like and subscribe button to keep the reviews coming. So this is a comparison that I've been very excited about because Lynx Tour is my current favorite poly, and the Hawk Tour is so far probably the biggest surprise of this year. Will it dethrone the Lynx Tour? Let's first start with the power. I like both of these strings because although they both have a firm feel, they both also provide a decent pop off the string bed. I like something that assists with power, especially on serve. Although I have a fast swing on serves and ground strokes, I have a shorter reach compared to a lot of people, so I hit a lot of flat serves into the net. When I hit the ball clean, I felt the strings pocketing the ball and shooting it out with good force, and that allowed me to clear the net on flat serves at a decent rate. On ground strokes, again, the pocketing was noticeable and provided a deeper penetrating shot. Both strings felt extremely good on my backhand. Because I hit my two-handed backhand quite flat, when I'm able to fully rotate my hips, I can hit backhands with decent pace, and I was able to hit the long cross-court backhand well with both strings. This is a very close contest, but at the end of the day, I think I will give the edge in power to the 𝐻𝐭 Tour only because it seemed to loosen up a bit more as the playtest went on, and I noticed the strings became a little more forgiving. Next up, spin. Both of these strings are shaped, but the edges are not that sharp, but that is not to the detriment of this string. Smoother edges actually allow the strings to slide out of position more and snap back better. It also leads to a more predictable launch angle, so I really like the profile of both of these strings. I like to evaluate the spin potential on my kick serve because that is the shot which is easiest for me to gauge just how much spin a string can get. Both of these strings performed admirably on the kick serve as I was able to get the ball to bounce out of my opponent's strike zone. The string really gripped the ball well on slices as well, and I could effortlessly get the ball to dive inside the lines. This is also another close call, but in the end, I think I will give the edge in spin potential to the Lynx Tour only because I noticed a little more downward dip on my kick serves when I played the strings side by side. Next up is comfort. This is not really a high priority category for me, but I know it is for a lot of people. That said, both of these strings would fall in the medium firm category, so if you have any sort of arm problems, I would suggest staying away from these strings. I like stiffer strings, so both of these felt great for me when striking the ball with my fast strokes. Another close call, but I felt the 𝐻𝐭 Tour overall from start to finish is a bit more comfortable. Off-center hits weren't as jarring, and I still got a decent amount of power outside the sweet spot with the 𝐻𝐭 Tour. Next category, which is an important one, the control. Both of these strings provide good control on full swings because of the stiffer construction and the spin potential. I felt comfortable playing my aggressive game from the baseline and swinging away on returns. I could play every shot confidently even when I was hitting on the run or put in an awkward position. Lynx Tour and 𝐻𝐭 Tour are interesting because although they are both on the stiffer side, they both pocket the ball well, and that is the key to getting good control for me. By resting on the strings, I feel like I can freely control the placement of my ball, and both of these strings achieve this in a way that is different from muted and dead control strings. Playing defense is even fun with both of these strings. So for that reason, I know people hate it when I do this, but for the control category, I have to give this a tie. For such an important category for an aggressive player, I just couldn't notice a huge difference in the control, command, and confidence I felt from all areas of the court, which to me is great news. Both of these strings are excellent as feel-based control strings. They are not the muted and dead control strings like RPM and 𝐤𝐵𝐿. Next category is tension maintenance and durability. I lumped these two categories together because I never play with strings until they break, so the playability duration is what I think about in terms of durability. That said, both of these strings have good tension maintenance. Both have a slight break-in period as the strings come off slightly boardy when fresh, but isn't as bad as 𝐤𝐵𝐿 Confidential. They both settle in well and the feel and playability opens up quickly. I never noticed a huge drop-off in tension like 𝐴LU Power, so I never felt I couldn't trust this string. The tension drops at a nice gradual rate and was easy to get used to. But I will give the edge to Lynx Tour because in my opinion the peak playability lasts slightly longer. With that being said, if you want a little more power coupled with good playability duration, the 𝐻𝐭 Tour softens up more, so that might be better for you. And finally, let's get into the feel category. This is the most important category for me because I am a touch and finesse oriented player that likes to mix in deceptive drop shots, short angles, and volleys. I rely on hitting into the gaps in my opponent's defense rather than trying to overpower them with heavy ground strokes or trying to outlast them with patience and defense. Both of these strings are crisp and lively, and I felt total command of all of my shots. I also had enough feel to play defense effectively. I got good consistent feel to keep defensive slices low and away from my opponent's strike zone, and my defensive lobs kept opponents off the net. This is a very close contest as well, and both suited my game very well, but at the end of the day, I think the Lynx Tour has slightly better feel because it is a tad crisper and stiffer, but I also want to give this caveat. I put the 𝐻𝐭 Tour in the 2024 Speed Pro, which is a bit more muted than the 2018 edition, so this played a small factor. But overall, I've played Lynx Tour in many head rackets, and I do believe it is the crisper of the two, but it is really a toss-up. Lastly, I'd like to talk about some other factors. Lynx Tour has been around longer, so there are more gauge options and colors. There are 4 colors to choose from, and all of them play slightly different. The The orange and champagne are the liveliest, whereas the black version feels the most muted. Hawk Tour only comes in one color at the moment. Also, it only has one gauge option at the time of filming, which is 125mm. The Lynx Tour has 130, 125, and 120, so more options for a wider range of players. The Hawk Tour is also slightly more expensive, although it isn't a bank breaker, so in terms of the other factors that could affect which string you choose, the Lynx Tour clearly has the edge here, but that's primarily due to the fact that it has been around longer. So now the moment has come to crown a winner. Both the Lynx Tour and Hawk Tour are very good strings in my opinion, and I love both of them. I would feel very comfortable taking either into a competitive league match. However, only one can be my favorite, and the winner is the Lynx Tour. It is still my favorite poly and barely edges out the Hawk Tour. I was honestly a little skeptical going into the Hawk Tour playtest because it is another one of those polys made from recycled material, and Luxilon tried that with their Eco line, which I wasn't too impressed with, but the Hawk Tour gave my still reigning favorite poly, the Lynx Tour, a run for its money. So now let me hear in the comments what you guys thought about this review. Have you tried the Hawk Tour or Lynx Tour yet? If you have, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next review. Thank you for watching this review of the Head Lynx Tour versus Head Hawk Tour right here on OpenCourt. If you guys like this content, be sure to overhead smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you on an OpenCourt.